us, when we meet with our realtors, we look at their life. What do you have going on in your life? Do you have another job? Do you have children? How much are you committed every day to real estate? And once we know that, and then we figure out, well, what's your goal? How much do you want to make? Then we work it backwards. We figure out what we need to work into their schedule. And that's where it comes back to the spokes, because some people might not want to door knock. Some people might not want to call them FSBOs, which FSBOs is another big thing of what we do as well. And we're not necessarily calling the FSBO to get the listing. That's the other problem. You know, when you call the FSBO that just came on the market that day, and they're like, you're the 50th caller. I'm like, great, what did I win? And then they're stunned. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know, I'm the 50th caller. You know, it's a contest, right? I'm like, look, dude, I'm not good for, that's why we don't call, by the way. You call 30 days after for us. But, you know, we're not calling to get their listing. We're calling to see how can we help? How can we provide some knowledge? Maybe we can connect them with our partner for title. But you know what? Maybe we could do an open house. It's brilliant if they're not in the limited listing service and they're only on Zillow. That's a win for us, right? And then it's, what can we do for them? And then they're eventually going to ask us to list their home. We're not even going to have to ask them that question, right? And then if they ask the question, well, what are you going to charge me? I don't know. Let me look at your house. Let me see what's going on. Don't ever answer that question on the phone, by the way, when you call. But for my time block, it's, you have to be advancing the story, as Ken said. You have to be prospecting. And you must always be looking for new business. But if you don't have it on paper as your goal, and how many you must touch, and how are you going to get to the destination? How are you going to know where you're going? Otherwise, you're going to be like I was in my first 3-4 years of real estate, wandering around, praying to God you got lucky, or someone would send you a lead, or this or that, or you would think that your success was talking to someone. You know, yes, it's great if you could just talk to a new person, but that's not great success to just talk to someone. It's what is the next step? That's the success. Did you get a next step? Right? And it might not be them for that day or that time to buy or sell, or 6 months or a year. It might be their friend. It might be their relative. It might be some of their sphere. So you got to get out. You got to talk to people. You got to prospect. And if you don't have it on paper, staring at you every single day in the face of what you should be doing, then you're not going to have success. That's the one thing all of us and any high producer is going to have in common, is we know what we're doing. We have it on paper, and consistency absolutely is the key. Repetition and consistency. How are you going to hit the ball out of the park if you're not in the batter's box?
Love it. Did he give you
You should do a course on that. And but for me, I don't buy leads. And yes, I do get business off of social media, but the number one thing is person to person. An open house for our agents is number one, because it's putting you in front of people, but it's about what you do at the open house. It's what you say, how to say it, when to say it. And I'm not pitching anything, but you asked the question. I do have a course, and I have a module. If anyone wants my free open house module, just come up to me after, give me your card, and I'll just send it off to you guys.
I've watched it. It's legit. So he's not selling something. It's just something we could do an entire masterclass on, but don't have time. So make sure you watch it. You're already recorded.
So you know, everything is your goal. So when you're doing your open house, it's what you're saying, how to say it, right? We're not necessarily there to sell that house. Sure, we love to sell that house, but we want to pick up a buyer, or we want to pick up a seller. You know, we're also letting the seller of that home know what our strategy for the day is, so they're not thinking that we're just using their home. Everything's about communication.